Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to another video of Kiznaiver 33. Today I want to talk about an anime called Kiznaiver, and I know it's a 2016 anime if I'm not mistaken, and we have 2020, but I recently watched it and wanted to review it because I got my very first anime recommendation, so why not just do it? It was a great reason to actually watch that anime because it was on my to-watch list forever and ever. There were mainly two reasons I didn't watch it. First of all, because in the genres it also had drama in it, so I tend to not watch drama animes, although most of the time I actually really like them afterwards, but I just tend to not watch them at first. I don't know. The second reason was because some of the YouTubers I actually watch, and I agree with a lot of what they say about anime, had said that Kiznaiver, at least like in America or was it Japan, I'm not sure, but it was hyped a lot, and after watching them they actually felt disappointed because it was hyped that much, but in the end it wasn't that amazing. So that was the second reason I didn't watch it, because I was like, okay, why should I watch an anime that I might not like? Then I'd rather watch an anime I think I will like, you know. But I watched it, and all in all, my general idea of it is that it has a lot of potential, but I feel like it actually didn't meet my expectations either. They could have made it much better than they actually made it. Not that the anime wasn't enjoyable. So if you want to know more about it, I'll tell you all the details now. Good. First of all, I'm not gonna say any spoilers here. If I want to say any spoiler, I will tell you before, and I will keep them for the very end of the video and not right now. So, the phrase that actually stood out the most is the all for one and one for all. It's pretty much in the very first episode as well. So let me start just by the opening. The opening, it had a lot of twirling, twisting, changing colors. Didn't say much about the anime itself, and the opening song, it reminded me so much of that old song of a-ha, Take On Me. Like, it's crazy. It reminded me so much of it. Then, you might be wondering, what does Kiznaiver even mean? I've never heard the word. I don't know anything about it. Well, the project, our 7 protagonists take part in, is called the Kizna project, or the Kizna experiment. And people that are in that experiment and take part in it are Kiznaivers. Like, pretty easily to understand, I guess. But yeah, like, it's nothing more about it, but the name sounds kind of cool, I'd say. About the characters, well, all of the characters are very different from each other. Our main protagonist is pretty, you could say boring, but it feels like he can't really express his feelings. He seems like he lacks some emotion, and he feels absolutely no pain. And you'll be wondering, why doesn't he feel any pain? Of course, there are disorders and some genetic reasons you can't feel any pain, but it didn't seem like that was the case for him, especially since his best friend that also is in love with him stated that he used to be different when he was a child, and then suddenly something happens, some darkness in his heart, and then he changed. That's what she said. So I pretty much thought, and especially because the anime started in a way, you could see it was like a dream that our main protagonist actually had. Seems to be like a flashback of his past, so you could tell that something's going on and like something actually happened to him. Then about the art style and the animation, well, it's nothing too amazing happens to be commenting too much on the animation, but the art style, I actually really liked it. For some reason, it reminded me a little bit of the Monogatari series. It's a little bit different at some points. It doesn't have as good quality though, and it's not as because it has a certain edge to it, but it's not as amazing as a Monogatari series animation and all the art style. But then again, that doesn't matter too much to me. but I felt like I had to mention it because I liked the art, and I liked how the people were portrayed, and I also liked their characters, most of them at least. At first, the first episode is like the hardest because the girl Nico is super annoying. Tenga seems just to be some kind of, not exactly a bully, to be a helpful bully kind of, but yet again, you don't get too much information about who those people actually are, and to be honest, with some of them, you don't get enough information even to the end. I thought we were gonna get a few more past stories that might have been interesting, but no, we didn't. Mostly we got the past story of our main protagonist and another girl, or another two girls, I'd say. But yes, you didn't get to know too much about all the characters, just about 2 or 3. Then we have again that concept of the 7 deadly sins, Nanatsu no Taizai. And I mean, there were so many animes that actually had the 7 deadly sins somehow in the anime or in the manga at least. I think, for example, for Nanatsu no Taizai actually is about the 7 deadly sins. That's a whole anime that's called that. That's called the 7 deadly sins. Then you also had them in Full Metal Alchemist, I think. They played a role there, if I remember correctly. And also like in Soul Eater, but I think the 7 deadly sins were portrayed in the manga and not the anime at some point. So yeah, like it's a reoccurring theme, and at first I actually liked how some animes portrayed the 7 deadly sins in a different way, and they became more interesting and everything. But after some time, and if you watch a lot of anime, I feel like you've seen that too often, and if it isn't too well executed, then you don't like it. But there was a point where a character even mentioned that although they chose those 7 people to be in that Kiznaiver program and be connected to each other and feel each other's pain, actually they didn't portray the 7 deadly sins in reality, but they just said that or whatever. So, I mean, you know, why even put that in there if you don't think it has anything to do with it in the end anyway? But okay, whatever. I have to say that some things that the characters were feeling or that happened to the characters were very relatable. I can see myself, for example, feeling the same way or understanding how they might have felt in the moment that happened to them, and why it might have been emotionally painful, because at some point they could even understand the emotions of the people they were connected with, and I could relate to what they were going through, but to me it felt completely unrealistic. I don't know. They tried to make a very nice happy end, which is good. I mean, it's good. Why not have a happy end? I love happy ends, but I think they were better off having a sour, sweet kind of happy end where not everything turns out so perfectly, because that just doesn't make sense to me. So let me start with some spoilers, because otherwise I can't explain some things that I want to say. They really tried so hard to create a happy end, but it seemed so far-fetched, because it doesn't really match with how reality would have normally been. The whole city, that whole town or whatever, was created so they could make that specific experiment that at the first time failed with the 19 children. And we had Nori-chan, who just didn't want to let go of the pain of others. And so there were like 5 people who were literally like dolls with no emotions, no feeling, who wouldn't move, and I don't know what, and they were just there in that facility and they couldn't do anything the last 12 years, alright? And no one told her, just let go of it, just go find some friends or whatever. No, they let her destroy lives of other children for 12 whole years. And and the rest of the children, 14 children or whatever, that had some rest of their emotions, but not like all their pain back. And they again didn't have a much better or a completely normal life either because of her, because she loved how they were also connected and great friends, and she thought that that could never happen if they weren't connected by the Kizna experiment. And since those scientists actually thought that that might be the case, that she might be holding them in them and not letting them go, why didn't they try to explain it to her? I don't know. But it seems like they didn't, but they kind of thought that would be the case, and I don't know what. it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't make 100% sense to me, or maybe I'm too dense to understand what was going on. What can I say? Also when she tried to like connect everyone in the city to her, even by force, like what is this? Honestly, I mean, and they would just help her. Like, okay, the one scientist tried to stop her, the other one helped her though. It's crazy. Why would people even want to be connected to her? I guess some people might think, yeah, it's great not to have any pain, but actually, I don't think it's actually that great. As you could see, a lot of people had problems after that experiment, so I don't know. And yeah, like, I think that was so selfish of her, and him actually, Kachon actually liking her, like, what? And we have again, oh, I really hate that, you know, that concept where children knew each other from when they were really, really little, and they actually were in love back then already, but yeah, it continues being like that. I don't know. It's just, I don't know, that concept, we have seen it so often, and I can't say I like it too much. But okay, like, as I said, the anime isn't too bad, but it's not the best thing ever. In general, it's not that I disliked the anime completely, but I felt like there were some things that didn't add up to me exactly, and that didn't make sense 100%, and also that the ending seemed very unrealistic. All in all, it's not that I didn't enjoy the anime at all. It had a lot of potential, as I said, but I expected something much more, I don't know, something better to happen, something more interesting. I'm not sure how to describe it, but yes, it's not that I felt completely disappointed, but I felt like there could have been so much more, and they didn't make use of the great concept they had. I hope to see you again. Bye bye.